Good morning, everybody. My name is Paul Jenkins from a packaging innovation consultancy called The Pack Hub. I'm going to be taking you through a bit of a whistle-stop tour in the next 30 minutes on the very latest packaging innovations that we've spotted in the market. So 20 seconds on The Pack Hub. We are a packaging innovation consultancy, and we help brand owners, retailers, and packaging suppliers with a range of packaging innovation projects from research, consumer trends, ideation, design, feasibility through to actually making those projects happen. We really understand packaging. We have something called the Packaging Innovation Zone, which you can subscribe to from our website, thepackhub.com. So that's a worldwide packaging trend watching across all categories. And we have a vast library of packaging stimulus, which really helps when we're doing workshops and the like. You can have my contact details at the end should you want to be subscribed to the Innovation Zone newsletter. So without further ado, I'm going to focus on 6 packaging trends that the Pack Hub has acknowledged as being important in the marketplace today. So those packaging trends are as follows. On the go, added functionality, packaging that pleases, made for me, and this is probably the most relevant one for this audience because this is all about how digital print has enabled packaging to become much more personalized. Get noticed, and sustainability. So without further ado, we'll talk about on the go. So factors driving this trend, consumers are leading an increasingly busy 24/7 lives. Meal times and where you eat those meals is becoming increasingly blurred. I can't remember the last time I had breakfast with the 5 of us in a family. We're all eating at different times, on the go. So there's a big trend here where packaging has a role to play to help the on-the-go consumption. So I'll give you some examples of packaging that delivers that. So we're seeing a lot of breakfast products now that offer on-the-go solutions. So Kellogg's Breakfast on the go. Weetabix have just recently launched a similar product. And in the middle is a composite box of 2 products to help the on-the-go consumption. We have other products. This is actually a concept pack from America. And what you have there is a powder, and you add water whilst on the go. So that keeps the packaging weight down, and you only add fluid once you actually need it. Graze has been very successful in the UK, and I know that they're launching in other markets around Europe. And this is a great on-the-go packaging example. Beautiful print, talking to the consumer when they buy quite a premium product. And lots of workplaces now have these products on their tables during the lunchtime. Other on-the-go products, many categories now have an on-the-go solution. So you've got things like sweet mini peppers already cut and ready to consume, no washing required, can take that straight out and consume that. Olives on the go, even extra virgin oil, single sachet for picnics and festivals and the like. So people are really thinking about what packaging can do to meet the on-the-go consumption needs. Nutella on the go, it's been relaunched into the UK recently. The big disappointment thing for me on this is actually the chocolate ends here, which is rather disappointing. So I think they need to work on that. But again, this is a nice impulse purchase. Nutella have done some really good work, and we've got some other examples of some other things that Nutella have done in the packaging arena. This was launched in the UK about 18 months ago, actually, now, and I know that America's had a lot of fluid enhancer products of late, but this has come into the market. It's a premium price. I think it's £2.99 for 20 dosages compared to something like £1.49 for a large bottled squashed variant. Of course, when a brand leader comes along like Britvic, other products come along as well. So there's various other water enhancer, flavor enhancer products out in the market now. So it isn't just soft drinks that are doing on-the-go solutions. We're seeing it in the alcohol industry as well. So various wine products, a ready glass there. You've got wine to go, so that's a washable, reusable solution for festivals and picnics. Even you've got wine in other substrates other than bottle and plastic. You've got it in there in a can. Not everyone's cup of tea, so to speak, but is available in a can should you wish to drink it. We're seeing wine in pouch formats as well, which obviously reduces the weight and eases the transportation of the product. And it isn't just wine that is available on the go. Believe it or not, you can actually now get whiskey in a pouch format, should you wish to consume that product out of the home. Lots of other solutions for on the go. That little aperture then makes the drinking of that coffee product that little bit easier. And I really like this one. This is a hand gel, and what this does is actually gets the product out of the bag. It clips on a belt, and if it's hanging there on a belt, it doesn't look the coolest thing in the world, but you're going to use it more. And I like products, packaging innovations that actually encourages you to use the product more. So you can guarantee that that product will be consumed faster than if it was sat in someone's handbag or in a desk or whatever. So that's on the go. I'm rattling through these. I've got about 100 slides in only 30 minutes, so I'm doing a top-line summary of each one. So the second packaging trend that we've acknowledged is something called added functionality. So this is packaging that gives that extra little bit added value. So this is basically meeting an unmet consumer need, and there's also an opportunity for brand owners and retailers to charge more for this added perceived benefit. So there's lots of examples of products with added functionality. An example here from the States where the top actually acts as a cleaning device. This is from the pharmaceutical world where you've got a digital clock that tells patients, helps them with their tablet adherence. So there's a little clock there that tells them when they next need to take the tablet. Other examples from the cleaning world, so carpet cleaner with an added brush included as part of the packaging. Sorry, apologies for the quality of this picture. This is the only available visual I could find in the whole of the internet. This has actually come from a Japanese trade show last year. And what you can actually see here is some mirror boards. This is a toilet cleaning product. And for the Japanese market, they've actually got a little bit of like a mirror to help consumers see that, making sure that they're getting every single clean part of the toilet correct. Maybe not right for the European market, but that's what's going on in Japan. But it's just a little bit of added value, a little bit of extra functionality to deliver a pack enhancement. This from the UK is from Bart Spices. So there's basically two types of aperture here, depending on how much you want to take out of the product. So very simple. This is from Ball Packaging. So this has got an integral, may not see that, but it's actually got a straw as an integral part of the can. They've just recently launched that, so I think that's quite an interesting. Think of can market as being quite dull and quite boring and lacking innovation. There's an example of somebody doing something different. Another concept, adding functionality. This is like a baby wipe product, but instead of having just one type of tissue, it's got two. So you could have one that was, for example, quite moist, or another one that added some additives in there, so you could have two types of moisture device there. Bayer have recently launched a video pack. So this is from, obviously, for their aspirin brand. So on there is a video that will start playing every time you open the pack, and it can obviously, in this example, it gives patients advice on how to take the tablets, but it could do anything. It could be a promotional video, it could be it could be a number of different things. So that's quite an expensive pack for aspirin, which is quite almost a commodity type product, but quite an interesting innovation. This is something else that's recently come to market, and this is more of a sort of a test really. This is obviously from Heineken, and this has got a GPS-enabled bottle, and it was done in the Amsterdam market, and consumers, once they open the cap, there was a GPS homing device that takes them to the Heineken drinking experience venue in Amsterdam. So a little bit of PR going on. That's never going to be a commercial bottle available to everybody, but a really nice example of how technology can be used in an engaging and an interesting way. Another example of how technology can be used. This was, they're trying to raise money in the States for this product called Clic Stic, and this is really the finest example of a pack that has added functionality. It's got 4 or 5 different elements to it. Some you might say are a little bit over the top and unnecessary, but they've done their research. This is for the young target market, and as you can see what you've got here, you've got an LED light, so if you manage to think of 18 to 24-year-olds applying deodorant in the dark, maybe, I don't know. And it's got a magic activation button bit of a, again, a bit of a sort of marketing ploy potentially, but what this does, apparently, if you put too much deodorant on, that's a disaster because you're all sticky. If you don't put enough on, then you're going to smell. So this has this magic activation button, tells you exactly the right way to apply it. Maybe over egging the omelette here, but that's what they're claiming to do. They've gone for Kickstarter funding in the States, and they've got the money, so there's some people behind this and believe that it will be a success. It's also linked to the internet, so it can reorder for you once you've down to a certain level. So this may not be a commercial success, but I think it gives a really good example of how added functionality can be used to almost to the nth degree. So the third example is packaging that pleases. So this is all about how packaging that offers things like easy opening, and improved functionality. There was some research last year that 81% of consumers experienced some sort of frustration with opening packaging. And there's some technology that addresses some long-established issues in certain pack types. So I've got some examples here of some easy open packs and some resealable packs and some packs that just make life a little bit easier. So this was launched in the UK about 3 or 4 months ago. I believe it may have been withdrawn. So they may have had some technical problems. I've not managed to get hold of a pack. Obviously, this is a crisp packet, but instead of having the conventional opening at the top, what you've got here is a reseal label for sharing. So this is what you're in a bar or in a pub, and you open your packs, and it all goes everywhere. This has a resealable opening aperture at the front. The cheese market, the dairy market, we're seeing lots of quite normal now to see resealable capability in these products. Likewise, for things like pasta and nuts. The cereal market is slowly migrating from bag-in-box to flexible packaging solutions with resealable capability. In preservatives, I don't know if anyone's seen this. This is the Orbit opening for Dewars. And I'm kind of highlighting, this has been out for a while, but what I'm highlighting about this is an easy open jar. It has about half the resistance required to open it, so anyone frail and elderly should be able to open it really, really easily. But the problem is, recent executions in store don't make that claim anymore. So my point is, why come up with a really good innovation that helps consumers and then not tell them about it in store? So hopefully there's nobody here from Dewars that can attack me. Other products are easier to use. So Lyle's is available in a really difficult tin that gets very sticky. So that goes on the breakfast table. Even my 12-year-old son, who's the messiest person in the world, could actually use that now. And it will, again, increase consumption. And pesto sauce is available in a format like that. This is from Zip Pack. So this, we talked about resealability. What I like about this has a embedded aroma in the zip. So this is hasn't come to market yet, but I can see some really good applications in maybe coffee or tobacco, where the aroma can be enhanced through the zip application. Other easier to use products, these are sort of dosage control. So the cap at the top, you squeeze out the exact amount that's required so you don't overdose. So you've got it for cleaning products and also for vinaigrette. Why you need to have the exact dosage for vinaigrette is another matter, but it's available. Pharmaceutical product, the lid of this actually closes after you open it. So that helps with ensuring that UV light doesn't get into the pack and keeps the product safer for longer. The next trend of 4 out of the 6 is made for me, and this is really where this show comes into its own, because this is about how digital print particularly can help brands and retailers communicate with their consumers almost on a one-to-one basis. So they can do things like personalized packs, pack versioning, and all sorts of micro-marketing to a really very small audience. And let's remember, they've got the millennial generation, so those consumers under 24 that have grown up with the internet, have grown up with smartphones. They expect brand owners to speak to them on a more one-to-one basis and not just do generic mass market campaigns. So we're seeing quite a number of campaigns out there now that personalize and version packs. So the first one I'd like to show you is, you may have already seen this, in fact, from Coca-Cola. So this was launched in the Israel market just before Christmas. So this is, I think, 4 million bottles were launched. and every single bottle is completely unique. So they had 23 base designs and a special algorithm through HP software called Mosaic, and they're able to have a completely unique design for every single bottle. What makes this campaign even more special is each bottle has a unique number, and consumers were able to go online and with that unique number either get a t-shirt or a baseball cap or a picture of their absolutely unique bottle design. So a small campaign in Israel from Coca-Cola, fully expect that from Coca-Cola in other markets, and also these type of innovations for other products. The technology's there, we can see it here today. The Share a Coke campaign is everyone has seen it. The UK, it started off in Australia 3 or 4 years ago, and it's gone to a number of different markets. The States are going again with it this year, so that kind of proves to me that it's a successful campaign for Coca-Cola. And this is, in the old days, they would have spent millions and millions and millions of pounds on TV advertising. They're now investing in packaging, so they're now investing those costs in engaging with consumers through the pack. I've noticed they've recently just done a Braille pack as well in Mexico and Argentina, which is, I think, is a Share a Coke campaign, which I think is a really good example. Other examples, this is KHS, so this is printing digitally straight onto a bottle, so no need for labels. So this is a prototype, but you can imagine all sorts of examples of doing pack versioning and personalization there. Other examples of pack versioning, so whiskey for the gift market, Father's Day, birthdays, Christmas, and the like. Visual isn't very good here, but this is not made for a human, this is made for a pet. So this is the Nestle Purina in the States, and this is called Just Right. And what you do, the consumer, not the consumer, the shopper, because the consumer is the animal, the shopper puts their animal's details online, the picture, weight, age, health, and Nestle Purina put that into an algorithm, and they ascertain exactly the right product for your animal. And they then send you that product in the post, picture of the dog on there, pet's name, and they've basically locked in that consumer for the next 5 or 6 years. They've come up with supposedly a unique blend for that animal, which of course the animal will love because it's done specially for them. And I think this is really clever. This is done for, obviously, for pet food, but fully expect this for other markets. The digital can really enable this to be done on a mass scale, and it isn't expensive. And just to make that point, a UK company has done something similar recently. In this situation, they haven't had the imagination to do a nice picture on the pack, but this is still a tailored, personalised pack for an animal. This was a test from PepsiCo for the Walker's brand in the UK. They only did about 3,000 or 4,000 packs. I think they were just sort of testing the water, really, after Coca-Cola had done all their work. So what consumers were able to do on Facebook was put their name on the pack, or a person's name on the pack, and send them a loved one, a friend, a packet of potato chips. Great. Apparently there were 3 or 4 marriage proposals as a consequence of that. I don't know if the weddings actually went ahead or they're now still married, but a bit of fun maybe. Very small scale, but I think it just gives you an indication for what the future could look like with digital print. I don't know who's seen this, from Nutella. In the UK, Selfridges were the 3 Selfridge outlets in the UK. There were lines and lines of people queuing up to have their names or friends' names printed on there. This is my daughter Sophie. I bought her and my 2 other children a jar before Christmas, and I didn't ask her to do this. Straight away on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Twitter, or whatever other social media outlets she uses. So this is viral. So Nutella are investing in the technology and the infrastructure to do this, and then consumers are helping to make it viral effectively for free. So really clever. So the 5th packaging trend is about getting noticed. This is packaging that is disruptive. This is packaging that in an outlet you have 1 or 2 seconds to capture the consumer's imagination, the shopper's imagination. So some brands take that as a challenge to do something that absolutely jars the norms and comes up with something that people will really notice. And the number of SKUs and outlets now has increased significantly. It's a very, very competitive market. You go down the a shopping aisle, and there will be 40 or 50 olive oil brands, whereas 10 years ago it would have been 2 or 3. So it's very difficult for brands to stand out. Some go down the route of doing something very different. So this is, rather than having water in a bottle that you can see, this is vivid water in a box, in a Tetra Pak. It hasn't been a massive commercial success. Maybe consumers, funny enough, need to see what they're consuming. Even though water, we all know what it looks like. There's something very evolutionary about seeing that the water is pure, and maybe, so that hasn't been a commercial success, but it certainly stands out on shelf. Another example which I really like, this was spotted in the States. Scotch Magic Tape is all about when you use it, you can no longer see it. So the product is actually behind a little mirror board. So it's in there, but when you open it up, it looks like it's gone. It looks like it's invisible, and I think that's really clever. If you're competing against Heinz baked beans and you're a small player, probably best not to try and replicate what they're doing, but do something different. So this is a product called On the Pulse. So it's available in obviously a flexible pouch. It ensures that it goes in the fridge, which is the best place in the kitchen for it to be. Their lawyers are obviously quite relaxed about the colours they've used here. I'm not sure Heinz was massively impressed with that use of that turquoise colour there. Again, hasn't been a particularly massive commercial success, but at least it's a good example of somebody that's trying to do something different in a new packaging format. Another example, why do it? A drink in a bottle. Do it in the shape of the product that that you're consuming. Another water example, really like this. All this is it's easier to see when you've got the pack in your hand. This is just printed the other side, so the water shines through that, and it looks quite 3D-like. Very, very straightforward, but it gets noted on the shelf. I mentioned olive oil a moment ago. These two are actually olive oil products, breaking all the category rules for how an olive oil product should look. If you look on shelf, here they are here, so they really are breaking the rules in terms of, ensuring that they stand out. However, if you look at the pricing, £16 reduced to £10 to clear, so it hasn't been a commercial success. Extremely expensive anyway, even at £10 a bottle. So I guess my point is, you can do disruptive packaging, but sometimes it doesn't always work. This is a smoothie bottle with a nice sort of ergonomic in capturing shape. Light bulbs are boring, so do something interesting with the card and bring that pack to life. I really like those. This was done for the launch of X-Men in cinemas, so Mountain Dew with a nice cape on it. I really like this. This is obviously from Felix, and what they've done is they've just married up the two packs, so it looks really good on shelf. Where it doesn't work is when you've got a kitten on one side and a cat on the other. It looks like something out of a horror movie, but it works really well when it's merchandised like that. But anything the UK can do, the States can do better, so this is an example of, I don't think you don't necessarily get that many number of facings in store, but you can't help but notice that particular milk product. Fruit and veg, so a bit over-engineered perhaps, but this is sort of obviously apples presented in a very nice card format. Sardines, why can't you see what the product looks like? So absolutely different to what would be in the market. And the last one I want to show you from this trend is, again from the UK. I don't know if people are aware of Comic Relief in the UK, which is every other year. It's all about having a red nose, and very many brands come along and try and do their own packaging examples. What I really like about this, not only does it stand out on shelf really, really well, but it's just using the existing packaging architecture and changing it around. So that is the dosage valve. The cap is the hat, and they've just made it, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful. And they've kind of shifted it from targeting adults to targeting potentially kids with adults, because mummy, can I have that please? That looks really good. And of course you give 5 pence to Comic Relief charity as well. So the last one, I've only got 5 minutes. I knew I'd overrun. So this is sustainability, a big overriding packaging trend, long term. Massive opportunities to reduce food waste through extending shelf life, portion control, opportunities to recycle content, renewable sources. Lots of examples here, and I'll whiz through these in the 5 minutes I've got. Coca-Cola and Heinz have done plant bottle, which is about 30 or 40% bio-based products. Coca-Cola have just announced that they're moving to 100% bio-based product within the next 3 years, which will be as cheap as their PET bottles currently are. And I think they do 60% of all their packaging is in PET. So this is quite a major transformation. There are also lots of other products available. So this is a tea bag, a tea product that's completely compostable, including the tea bag and everything about it. All the packaging is completely compostable. This is a compostable coffee cup. There are seeds indigenous to the California area embedded in this cup. You have to water it down and let it soak for about a week. So it's not quite there yet, but what a clever idea. So you consume the coffee and put the pack to be composted, and in a year's time you have some flowers from the California area. And the plan is to do other areas around the States with indigenous flowers from that product. This is from Method. So this is plastic used from ocean plastic sea waste. Really good. More bio-based products. So this is about 30% polyethanol, ethanol. This is tomato packaging using stalks from tomatoes as partly part of the bio product. So the packaging tomatoes with packaging created from tomato byproduct. Very clever. Another example of compostable film. Lots of other examples. Tetra Pak have got a completely 100% renewable pack there. We're seeing lots of paper-based products. This is for cat litter product from Ecologic in the States. Carlsberg have recently announced that they're moving to a fiber-based bottle by 2018, so completely biodegradable. I don't know what consumers will think about drinking a beer that they can't see, that is very different to what they would normally consume, but Carlsberg have made that pledge that this will be available in 3 years' time. Lots of other smart packaging examples. So these help with shelf life improvements. This is an alert that if it goes out of the freezer supply chain, that color code, it's been around a long time, but that changes color to tell people that it's been defrosted and frozen again. Device that tells people that it's when a pear is ready to consume. This is from Insignia Technologies. So when it opens, this device then changes color. There's a lot of nervousness in the industry because if they get this wrong and consumers sue the brand owner, there's going to be big issues. So we're not there yet, and that's why these are just prototypes and haven't come to market yet. And another smart packaging example, this is actually linked to the internet that sends people text messages, or your carer text messages to say whether a tablet has been consumed or not. So quite impressive. So in terms of the future, technology is definitely going to play its part. Some examples here that are on the fringes of being launched or will certainly become more prevalent. So this is a product called Media, which has an LED display on the bottle. They're now linking that to smartphones, so you can actually change the message from a smartphone on the bottle. Very, very clever. Diageo have just recently launched a thing for Johnny Walker, where again, your smartphone will activate when you get near the bottle. So, and it'll tell you where your local stockists are and whatever else. Dell have recently launched a carbon negative product. So it actually sequesters less carbon dioxide than it uses. So it's a very clever and scientific thing. I can't explain it in the 10 seconds I've got left. But is there an opportunity for carbon negative packaging going forward? We've seen a lot of self-heating packs. They've kind of gone away. The technology is improving, so we think there might be some opportunities for some self-heating packs coming back onto the market. And edible packaging has been sort of put out there as something that might be the long-term gain for 10, 15, 20 years' time. This is from Tomorrow Machine, which are an agency based in Stockholm. So they've come up with some concepts using beeswax and agar-agar oil and various other products. Big issues around health and safety here, but is there a future for edible packaging? This is called Uhu, I think, and this basically has a membrane which is edible as well. So you can imagine that in sort of developing world relief markets. The problem there is how do you actually transport that product without it sort of breaking up? But it's out there as an option. This is the last packaging trend I wanted to show you. This is allegedly being launched by KFC in the UK this year. I think it's a bit of a marketing ploy rather than something commercially viable. But this is a coffee cup made out of sort of biscuit that once you've drunk your product, you then eat the cup, basically. And it's been done by a marketing agency, so I suspect it'll be done on a small scale. It's the kind of thing we'll get in the newspapers and on the TV. It's not ever going to replace packaging. Do you pay more for it? How much does it cost? There's health and safety issues about the product being dirty, but I thought that's quite an interesting one to end with. So just want to summarise in exactly 30 minutes. I'm very impressed. I've never normally overrun. So the 6 packaging trends I've spoken about: on the go, added functionality, packaging that pleases, made for me, get noticed, and sustainability. Thank you very much. My name's Paul Jenkins. If you want to speak to me afterwards, please do. And thank you very much for your attention.